So this is Rams channel, right? I'm allowed to say what I want here, right? I think so. Well, I've heard, since the Lions fans got louder and they supported the channel, I don't know if they still do. I know there's some out there. But I always heard Detroit versus everybody or Detroit versus everyone. And I was always like, what the hell does that mean? What does that mean? Is that like a victim type of thing? Are you really playing the victim card? And then I think about it, it's not really the victim card. But what it is that it's not Detroit versus everyone. It's not Detroit versus everyone because nobody was rooting for the Rams to beat the Detroit Lions. Everyone wanted to see the feel-good story. But here's the thing. I'm making this video today because, you know what? NFL Honors just ended, or I don't know if it ended. I didn't watch. I just saw all the stuff come up on social media. And it occurred to me, it is Rams versus everyone. Okay? And I don't care who's going to like what I just said. I really don't. I'm going to say what I want to say, and I'll be honest with you, I have backup to prove it. And is it that crazy that voters, maybe the NFL, who knows, has anything against the Rams? Is it that crazy to admit that? I mean, they tried to, think about this real quick. They tried to block Stan Kroenke from moving to LA. Stan Kroenke also moved to LA, which caused the NFL to get into a lawsuit against St. Louis. So that wasn't great for business. The Rams have also moved 3 times. So they moved from Cleveland, they moved to LA, then they moved to St. Louis, then they moved back to LA. It's not that hard to believe. They've also put the NFL into controversy. You notice how when the Rams have something happen to them, it's always magnified, right? Like the Super Bowl. No one batted an eye that T. Higgins, who, by the way, I would love the Rams to grab if they can this offseason, so nothing against him, but no one batted an eye when T. Higgins took Jalen Ramsey's face mask and threw him to the side and scored a touchdown in front of everybody. The whole country was watching, but no one batted an eye. The whole world was watching. No one batted an eye at that. But the call at the end of the game, when clearly there's a tug by Logan Wilson. And I have nothing against the Bengals. By the way, love the Bengals fans. So if you're listening to this, watching this, nothing against you. I'm just, let me say my piece. Everyone made a big deal. Oh, here we go again. Pass interference. I mean, ignoring the fact that Logan Wilson did the same freaking thing the play before to Darrell Henderson. And then that brings me to another point, right? The Saints. Oh, well, pass interference and it didn't get called. And Saints fans wanted to bring it to the Supreme Court. It was a whole big mess. And everyone was saying the Saints should be in, the Saints should be in, the Saints should be in. I mean, think about this, okay? What about Spygate? What about all that stuff with the New England Patriots? No, that got brushed aside. As a matter of fact, Roger Goodell wanted to have the tapes destroyed. Okay? The NFL destroyed the tapes. So we'll never know what was on those. Besides the fact we already know in the Super Bowl, remember, Willie McGinnis saying that he held Marshall Faulk all game. He was surprised when they finally called it once. What am I getting at here? I'm getting at the fact that it seems like the Rams win the Super Bowl against the Bengals and people still bring up, oh, well, they wouldn't have won without that call. And the Rams, beat the 49ers, which no team seems to do a really good job of doing. They beat the 49ers in the NFC title game, and it's always Tart dropped it, right? And they beat the Bucs. They beat Tom Brady, and it's, well, they almost blew the lead. Well, they didn't. 27-3. Okay. Doesn't mean anything. Right? And then we hear about the Lions and they went 0-3 in the red zone. My point I'm making here is that it's always something with the Rams. And we already know that when the Rams left St. Louis, it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. It rubbed St. Louis fans. It rubbed non-football fans. People don't like Kroenke, right? People don't like that Sean McVay didn't have to pay his dues, to their point. They're like, oh, well, nepotism, and he's, 30 years old and he's going to suck. And then when he proved all those idiots wrong out there that said he wasn't qualified and they went 11-5 the first year, they were cheering for the Falcons. They were hoping the Rams would lose. Fast forward the next year, they're playing the Patriots in the Super Bowl. There are people rooting for the Patriots. How are you rooting for the evil empire? How? It was happening because of the Saints game, right? So it's been that. It's been that with the Rams, and that's just that. But when we get into not the public opinion, but the voters and the mainstream media, and how this year the talk of the town was Caleb Williams, come on down to the City of Angels, and this team's going to tank. And that wasn't just fandom. That was started by the media. When the media started that, they were admitting that they believed that the Rams were a bad football team. I think that's a fair assumption to be made there. 3 to 5 wins. That's all I heard. I said 10-7. People thought I was insane. Well, of course, they finished 10-7 because I'm not insane. I know what I'm talking about, unlike most of the meatheads on TV that don't know what they're talking about when they say they're going to win 3 games. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, even if it's, of course, wrong. But the thing that bothers me is there's a pattern here. There's a pattern. So go back to 2017. Mainstream doubts the Rams. Oh, they're going to be bad. Then you have, Colin Cowherds in there that are saying, no, they're going to win 10 games, 11 games. I said they'd go 11-5. People thought I was crazy. People thought other people were crazy that thought they'd be good. Oh, no, Sean McVay, he's 30 years old. He's going to be terrible. Well, he wasn't. Quiet. Just absolute quiet. But then they lose in the playoffs, and all this starts, well, it was too big for him. And then the next year, 2018. In 2018, what happens? That team, they go far. And people said after the Saints game, they're not going to be able to beat the Saints in New Orleans because that was basically for the 1 seed. Well, guess what? They beat them in New Orleans. But, it only happened because of that one call. Like the rest of the game didn't matter. Like they didn't play in overtime. Like the Saints didn't have an overtime possession. Anyway, again, led to people rooting for the dynasty that had been terrorizing the NFL and Tom Brady. They had people rooting for the Patriots. So then 2019 happens. And everyone was, poo-pooing on Jared Goff, right? All that. 2019 happens. They don't make the playoffs. A lot of things happened. Stafford was gone. There were trades made. They had injuries. They just missed it, I think, by 1 game. And, the media's loud again. Because the media shut the hell up in 2018. And by the way, when I say media, I don't mean everybody. I mean most people. 2019, they're running their mouths again. Oh, Sean McVay. Oh, he thought he was Mr. Golden Boy. He thought he was Mr. Big Shot. And guess what? He got his wings clipped by Vic Fangio and Bill Belichick. So 2019 rolls along, and they're saying, it's going to be a Super Bowl hangover. And guess what? They end up being right, except it wasn't a Super Bowl hangover because they had injuries that led to them barely missing the Super Bowl. Barely missing the playoffs. 2020 rolls along. Sean McVay is starting to see Goff might not be that guy. And the blame is all on McVay. Like, where did this go? Where did Jared Goff go? Whatever. All this blame on McVay. McVay got blamed, remember, when Wade Phillips left, he got blamed for hiring Brandon Staley. He's never been a defensive coordinator before. They end up being the number 1 defense in the league. Crickets. They lose to the Packers. It's, Sean McVay couldn't get it done. And then it's all this talk. Jared Goff's not the guy, and they're stuck with him. And oh boy, good luck trying to move that. Guess what? The Rams move his contract for Matthew Stafford. Shocking all of the media people that said that it was impossible to move that deal. I remember that. I remember certain people that I won't throw names out there because if I ever brush shoulders with them, But still, I remember exactly who it was. So, Rams get Matthew Stafford. And now what is it? Media's going to say? Media's going to say this. Oh, well, Stafford has never won a playoff game before. He's stat Padford. He's the reason Detroit was bad. He's a good quarterback, but he's not great. This is disrespectful to do this to Goff. He led you to a Super Bowl, and you're going to do this? I think this is going to backfire tremendously. I don't think Stafford is going to work in L.A. I heard that so many times, and people want to, revise history. The people that were wrong don't want to admit they were wrong. But it was all over. The fun thing was to doubt Matthew Stafford. Now the football, the guys that get, shade because, we only hire people that played the game now. It's like, you played in the NFL. Now here's a free spot. We don't hire enough journalists. Well, maybe that's the case. Maybe that we should do that because in that moment, that year, I remember the player analysts, the guys who played the football game, the guys who played the game of football, they gave Stafford his props. They gave Stafford his due. They gave Stafford his credit. And so because they did that, right, you had them going up against the people that just wanted to say he was Stat Padford. Well, again, don't forget, 2021, people were saying, this isn't going to work. It's going to backfire. It's a lot of picks to give up for somebody that's never won a playoff game. And I love what Stephen A is doing right now. I like Stephen A. Stephen A said, and I don't think they're going to beat Kyler Murray. I don't think so. Those exact words, the exact words he said before the Rams trounced the Arizona Cardinals in the first round of the playoffs. A team that was undefeated for a while, that was dominating the NFC West, and the Rams came back and knocked them off their pedestal. On top of that, they had to beat Tom Brady, who no one gave him a chance. The Rams have this, and the Rams have this, but the Buccaneers have Tom Brady, so I'm going to pick the Buccaneers. Okay. And then the Rams won. And they would have won by a lot if Cam Akers didn't fumble twice. Okay. Anyway, moving on. The 49ers. The Rams just can't seem to beat the 49ers. I'm going to take the 49ers. I heard that so many times. I'm going to go with Kyle over Coach McVay, said Skip Bayless. Well, the Rams won that game. And then it was, I know the Rams have this. I know the Rams have this. But the Bengals have Joe Burrow. He's the next Tom Brady. I heard that. And the Rams won the Super Bowl. So, media doubts, right? Starts with the media doubting. Rams prevail. 2022 happens. For whatever reason, I never even hear this, but the Rams win the Super Bowl. Now they're thinking, it's going to be Super Bowl hangover. And they were right. Except, was it really just 2019 all over again? 2019, they had a bevy of injuries. They were, they stayed alive most of the year, and Goff didn't get hurt. So they ended up finishing decently well and would have made it in a 7-team format. But that was the last year of the 6-team format of the playoffs, so it didn't work. 2022, they had 16 different offensive line combinations. So that didn't go well. They spent way too much time trying to bring Von Miller back. But the point is, they were in every single game going into the fourth quarter. Defense did a nice job of holding them. The offense had disappeared. Stafford only played 9 games, though. They had to claim Baker Mayfield off waivers and start him 48 hours after they claimed him. So then you have that season. And if you actually did your research and you watched those games, you could tell that Rams team was missing health. They weren't bad. They were just missing health. No team is going to go far if they're playing 16 different offensive line combinations. None. And no team is going to go far if they're having their starting quarterback for 9 games. So, move to the next year. And the next year, they had no first-round pick. They have 14 rookies on the team. I can only name 2 guys on the defense. So I'm going to say that the Rams are going to win 3 to 5 games. I think they have a chance at Caleb Williams. I think they should tank for Caleb Williams. That's the type of thing that I heard. I said 10-7. People laughed at me on Twitter. I said 10-7 in the playoffs and they'll lose to the Lions. I quite literally predicted it dead on, except I had the Lions and Rams in the divisional round. Point I'm making here is that, once again, the media said something. Doubted them. Rams came back. Sean McVay. You don't bet against Sean McVay. He is the common denominator here. But, again, the media bet against him. They went 3-6. Immediately when they hit 3-6, all hell broke loose. See, they showed a little bit, but here they are falling off. They don't have enough talent. It's not going to be good. Stafford doesn't look good. I don't like this team. Guess what? Sean McVay led that team to win 7 of their next 8 games, go to the playoffs, take over the 6th seed in the conference playoffs, and they lost by 1 point to the team that everybody wanted to win, the Lions, who always say Detroit versus everybody, but who's really having it going against the team? The Rams got swept on NFL Honors Night. Swept. I mean, think about this. Just think about this. McVay finished 6th in Coach of the Year voting despite turning around a 5-12 team and turning that into a 10-7 team the next year. 6th in Coach of the Year. Okay. Kobie Turner finished below Will Anderson despite playing more games, having more sacks, more tackles, better numbers overall. Was the better rookie down the stretch. Okay. Puka Nacua got trounced. Landslide. 48-2. CJ Stroud won the Offensive Rookie of the Year, despite the fact Stroud missed 2 games, was outdueled by everyone's favorite punching bag, Zach Wilson. Puka broke 2 rookie receiving records, including one that has stood in place since 1960. That means no, Jerry Rice did not break that. Was not broken by Jay Jettas, Justin Jefferson. Was not broken by Jamar Chase. Wasn't broken by anybody until Puka Nacua did it. So then moving on, Matthew Stafford, who I just mentioned, had his season ended by a spinal cord contusion. One of the older quarterbacks in the NFL starting still. People were asking me all off season, were saying all off season, is he going to play? Is he done? Is Matthew Stafford going to retire? Not only did he not retire, not only did he come back from a spinal cord injury, but he was one of the best quarterbacks at the end of the season. He had a very good year. Despite the fact his number 1 receiver, Cooper Kupp, missed 4 games, wasn't the same guy. The whole year he struggled. I mean, he was working with a 5th-round receiver who you said, apparently, based on your voting, isn't Offensive Rookie of the Year quality. Okay. Tutu Atwell, who barely played last year. Tyler Higbee, who wasn't the same guy this year. He only had Kyron Williams, who was the second best running back in the league for 12 of those games. So, Stafford only got 30 votes. Fewer than DeMar Hamlin. Fewer than Joe Flacco. I mean, DeMar Hamlin came back from something. What did Joe Flacco come back from? I covered him with the Jets last year. I'm not hating on Flacco. I love his story. What the hell did he come back from? It's the same thing. I love Baker to death. I love Baker Mayfield. What the hell did Baker Mayfield come from? He started the last game of the season for the Rams. Matthew Stafford's season was done like 9 games before that. Are you kidding me? So, that's the thing. It's Rams versus everyone, folks. I've never said it before. It's the Lions thing. Detroit versus everybody. No, I'm saying it. We watched. All of America rooted for the Lions to beat the Rams. We also know who wanted the Lions to beat the Rams, but I won't get into that either. I mean, John Johnson said it best on his podcast. They weren't winning that game, even if they deserved to win that game. The Rams have had a crazy number of snubs over their history, but not even getting too much into that history. Puka Nacua, Offensive Rookie of the Year, snubbed. Kobie Turner, Defensive Rookie of the Year, snubbed. Todd Gurley should have won MVP in 2017, but it's a quarterback award. Snubbed. He got, of course, Tom Brady got it. Cooper Kupp should have beaten Aaron Rodgers for MVP. Okay? He should have. Snubbed. Triple Crown winner, doesn't get MVP. Snubbed. Aaron Donald has multiple years where he was snubbed. He was snubbed because his team didn't do well enough the year Khalil Mack beat him. Ridiculous. Sean McVay, Coach of the Year, snubbed. Matthew Stafford, Comeback Player of the Year, absolutely snubbed. Torry Holt, once again didn't get in the Hall of Fame. Andre Johnson and a returner got in. Miss me with Devin Hester impacted the game more. Torry Holt had, 50 more touchdowns than Devin Hester. Miss me with that. That is garbage. Devin Hester couldn't make it as a receiver. He was a great returner, probably the greatest returner of all time. But the fact of the matter is, you continue to push all of these receivers back. And then you wonder why we have this backload. It's insane. The Hall of Shame at this point. And it's no different than the Baseball Hall of Fame. They both have their issues. And that's why Henry Ellard is still snubbed. Didn't he retire as the all-time leading receiver? Or was he second? I don't know. It was one of those. He retired as one of the best receivers and still hasn't gotten in. Matthew Stafford's the only quarterback in NFL history to win a Super Bowl and throw 3 touchdowns and not win Super Bowl MVP. Do you think they had an obsession with Cooper Kupp? Or do you think the media and the guys that vote, who didn't believe Stafford could win a playoff game, wanted to keep their ego in check, wanted to keep Matthew Stafford down a peg and make sure he didn't win that Super Bowl MVP? The bottom line is the voters covered up their misses. That's why the Texans won all night. Will Anderson won despite having less numbers, playing fewer games, being less impactful than Kobie Turner. CJ Stroud won because he's a quarterback, but also because of what the Texans did. And Andre Johnson got in over Torry Holt. I have nothing against the Texans, but let's just call it like it is. It was a Texans night, and it was an example of how it's Rams versus everyone. Remember what we said? We said on this channel, Aaron Rodgers, who I am a huge fan of, so I am unbiased here. Aaron Rodgers can take home the MVP hardware. Cooper Kupp will be taking home the real hardware, which is the Super Bowl. And that's what happened. So, if any Rams sees this, anybody in the Rams organization, I'll say this. I want you to post up every single result of these awards. Post them up wherever you can. And just look at that every single week. This team, this organization continues to be doubted. And it's comical. The way Kyle Shanahan's been talked about this week, you would think he has the Super Bowl already and not Sean McVay. Comical. It's this double standard. So, it's probably why they were rooting for Jared Goff so much. So, look, it's Rams versus everybody. Rams versus everyone. I think we should start saying that. I think we should start making that the mantra. I don't think it's victimhood. Because you know what it tells me? It tells me that you're aware of the situation. What are you going to do to overcome it? And that's the thing. The Rams, I'm sure, are aware of this situation. For whatever reason, they get snubbed. But the Rams, they got hardware. And some of these teams don't. And that includes the Texans. So, that's what I got for you guys. I don't know. Kind of a rant, but also just something I've noticed, things I picked up on. This is kind of a joke. This is a joke of an NFL honors if you're a Rams fan, if you're part of the Rams organization. I don't have an issue that Kobie Turner lost necessarily because I think that was close. I still think he should have won, but at least it was 16-14-14, right? 48-2 is absolutely disrespectful to Puka Nacua. It just basically told everyone that if you're not a quarterback, we don't care what you do. Everything you did this year, we don't care. Doesn't matter. You're not getting an accolade. We already knew that when Cooper Kupp had the Triple Crown, which doesn't happen normally, and they gave it to Aaron Rodgers. That wasn't even his best MVP season he's won an MVP with. So, but yeah, I don't know. I felt it was something that needed to be done. I didn't want to break down each award and, he lost and do an isolated video on all those. I wanted to just react. So that's my reaction. And hopefully, I know it's Rams versus everyone, but maybe the Rams can get it with that competition committee this offseason and at least point out that Matthew Stafford doesn't get as many calls as he used to with the Lions. Doesn't get as many roughing calls. Everyone saw it. We all know. And that's not about getting a 15-yard penalty. It's player safety. Like, I don't want, the quarterback of the Rams to get injured. So, look, this can come off as whining. That's fine if you feel that way. I think it's just telling it like it is. Because, again, I think the Rams are going to be back. I think there's a very good chance that they could be playing in Super Bowl 59 next year. And if that happens, none of that matters. None of this matters. I would like to see my guy Torry Holt, who did come on this show. I'd like to see him get in deservingly. He is deserving. He should have gotten in this time. He should have gotten in last year, probably the year before that. There's not many that were able to do what he did, and to penalize him because he played with Isaac Bruce and my favorite, Kurt Warner, for 3 years when he actually played with Mark Bulger for the majority of his career is just absolutely insane to me. So those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know in the comments section how you feel. Obviously, I think you guys know I'm going through it, but no, I don't like it, man. To me, the 48-2, I think we have a deeper problem with the voting. I don't think the voters know what they're doing. A return guy getting into the Hall of Fame over Torry Holt is absolutely insane. I don't care that it's Devin Hester. That's insane. That's how I feel. So let me know in the comment section below. Sound off below. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. You can follow me at JK Bogan on social media. You can like, subscribe, comment. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Later, folks. Do you love talking about the Rams, the NFL, or just want to be a part of a community? Join my free Discord server today. We're over 800 members. We got 24/7 live chat, a level 3 boosted server, the ability to call into JE Live, playing online games with us on Kick streams, toggleable alerts for when I go live on YouTube or Kick so you don't miss a live stream, and exclusive giveaways. Click the link in the description, the comments section, or the link that comes up in the video to learn more and join today.